Look, if you've been training for a while, you've probably heard this question 100 times: should you lift heavy weights for fewer reps, or go lighter and do more reps? It sounds simple, right? But the truth is, even fitness pros debate this one endlessly. From your very first day at the gym, someone probably told you, do 8 to 12 reps, that's the magic range. And sure, it's a decent starting point. But the reality? Your body, your goals, and your experience level all matter a lot more than any universal rule. What works for a beginner doesn't necessarily work for someone who's been training seriously for years. So today, we're going to break this down completely, based on real science, not gym myths. You'll understand how different repetition ranges affect muscle growth, strength, endurance, and overall conditioning. And by the end, you'll know exactly which approach fits your current goals best. Before we dive in, let me clear up one common myth: that doing more reps will define your muscles, and fewer reps will make them bigger. That's one of the oldest and most misleading ideas in fitness. Muscle definition doesn't come from high reps, it comes from reducing body fat while maintaining muscle mass. So if you've ever heard that, it's time to let it go. Alright, let's start with what happens when you train with higher repetitions, say anywhere from 12 to 20 reps per set. When you lift lighter and go for more reps, your muscles stay under tension for a longer time. That means more total work per set, and more metabolic stress inside the muscle. It's not just about how much weight you're moving, it's about how long the muscle is working. This longer time under tension increases the accumulation of metabolites like lactate and hydrogen ions. You know that burning feeling you get toward the end of a long set? That's your body signaling that it's working hard, creating metabolic stress, one of the key triggers for muscle growth. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This kind of training mainly leads to what scientists call sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. In plain English, it's when the fluid and energy stores inside the muscle cells expand. It makes your muscles look fuller and more pumped, even though the actual muscle fibers themselves, the ones responsible for strength, may not be growing as much as they do with heavier lifting. If you've ever chased that incredible muscle pump, that tight, full feeling, this is what causes it. The blood and fluid that rush into the muscle during those high-rep sets stretch the cells slightly, triggering growth signals that tell your body, hey, we need to build up more capacity here. And the benefits don't stop there. High-rep training also improves muscular endurance, especially in your slow-twitch muscle fibers. These are the fibers that help you sustain long bouts of effort, whether it's doing 20 reps on the leg press or climbing a few flights of stairs without gasping for air. When you train with higher reps, your muscles become more efficient at using oxygen and producing energy. You're basically teaching your body to go the distance. That's why endurance athletes like cyclists or combat sports fighters often include high-rep resistance training in their programs. It conditions their muscles to perform longer without burning out. Another big plus? High-rep, lower-weight training tends to be much gentler on your joints. If you've ever dealt with shoulder pain from bench pressing too heavy, or knee discomfort from deep squats, switching to higher reps with lighter loads can give those joints a break while still keeping your muscles challenged. You can really focus on your form, your breathing, and that mind-muscle connection, which is key for making long-term progress without injuries. But of course, it's not all perfect. There are some downsides to training with lighter weights and more reps. The biggest one is that you don't generate as much mechanical tension. That's the raw physical force placed on the muscle fibers, and it's the single most powerful driver of myofibrillar hypertrophy, the kind that makes your muscles denser, stronger, and harder. If your goal is maximum strength or size, you can't rely solely on high reps with light weights. You'll get a great pump, sure, but not the deep structural growth that builds long-term muscle density. And here's another issue. Irisor bor satten stores. Bor sandening returden. Your zor, when you're doing long, high-rep sets, sometimes your lungs or your heart give out before your muscles actually do. That's especially true with big compound movements like squats or deadlifts. You start to feel winded, your breathing speeds up, and suddenly you're ending the set because you're tired, not because your muscles are fully fatigued. That means you're not getting the full benefit of the exercise. Also, because the weights are lighter, your body doesn't get the same kind of neural adaptation it would with heavy lifting. Your nervous system learns to recruit muscle fibers efficiently under heavy loads, and when you don't train that way, your strength gains will plateau pretty fast. So while high reps are awesome for endurance and conditioning, they're not the best way to build raw power. Alright, now let's flip the coin. and talk about what happens when you train with low repetitions and heavier weights. Here we're talking about sets of 4 to 8 reps, the kind of training that makes your muscles work near their maximum capacity. Heavy weight equals high mechanical tension. And that's gold for strength and dense muscle growth. When you lift heavy, your muscles undergo micro-tears at a deeper level. Your body responds by repairing those fibers, making them thicker and stronger than before. This is myofibrillar hypertrophy, the kind of growth that builds lasting, dense muscle tissue that doesn't vanish the moment you stop training for a few days. Lifting heavy also teaches your nervous system how to perform better. Your brain and muscles start communicating more efficiently, activating more muscle fibers at once. You become stronger not just because your muscles grow, but because your body learns how to use them better. That's why power lifters and Olympic lifters can move insane weights. Their neuromuscular coordination is off the charts. Another advantage is progression. With heavy training, it's easier to measure your improvements. You can track your weight increases week by week, even by small amounts, and those small jumps add up fast. Every time you lift heavier than before, you're giving your muscles a brand new reason to grow. But of course, going heavy comes with risks. Poor form under heavy load can easily lead to injury, especially for your joints, tendons, and ligaments. A slight twist, a missed brace, or skipping your warm-up can turn into a serious strain. That's why heavy training demands perfect technique and gradual progression. You can't ego lift your way through it. The margin for error is razor thin. Heavy training also has less time under tension, which means less of that metabolic stress we talked about earlier. You'll get stronger, but you might not get that same swollen, pumped look unless you combine heavy work with some high-rep accessory movements. And since the sets are shorter, your total workout volume might be lower unless you add extra sets, which means more time and recovery needed. So now you might be wondering, which is better? Should you go heavy and low reps, or light and high reps? Here's the honest truth. Both work, and the smartest lifters use both. Science shows that when total training volume is equalized, meaning the total amount of weight lifted over time, both heavy and light training can build muscle. The difference lies in the type of adaptations they create. Heavy, low-rep lifting builds dense, strong, powerful muscles. It trains your nervous system and helps you lift more weight in the future. Light, high-rep lifting builds endurance, gives you better pumps, improves blood flow, and strengthens your joints and tendons while keeping them safe. Different muscles also respond better to different styles. Muscles that are used constantly, like your calves, lower back, and forearms, have more slow-twitch fibers. They thrive on higher reps. They're endurance-based by nature. On the other hand, big power muscles like your chest, back, and thighs are loaded with fast-twitch fibers. They grow best with heavier, lower-rep training. And then there are muscles like your glutes or shoulders. They're mixed. They need both strength and endurance. So the ideal approach? A combination. For example, you could go heavy with your squats and presses, 6 to 8 reps per set, and then use higher reps, like 15 to 20, for isolation exercises, such as lateral raises, curls, or leg extensions. This way, you hit every growth mechanism possible: mechanical tension and metabolic stress. Think of it like building a house. The heavy lifting is your foundation, strong, dense, durable. The high rep work is your finishing. It fills the space, adds shape, and refines the details. Together, they create a balanced, complete physique that's not only strong, but also functional and aesthetic. And here's something else most people don't talk about. Alternating these rep ranges also prevents boredom and plateaus. Your body adapts fast. If you do the same thing over and over, your progress slows down. But when you mix up your rep ranges strategically, heavy work on some days, lighter and longer sets on others, you keep your muscles guessing and your results coming. So, to sum it all up, heavy weights build strength and density, light weights build endurance and pump. Both build muscle, as long as you train with enough effort and keep your total volume high. There's no single magic formula that works for everyone. It's about knowing your goals and training accordingly. If your goal is raw strength, focus more on those heavy sets of 4 to 8 reps, making sure your form is perfect. If your goal is endurance, fat loss, or just feeling more athletic, mix in those higher rep ranges. And if you want the best of both worlds, strength and size, do what most elite athletes do. Combine them. So next time you walk into the gym, don't just copy what someone else is doing. Think about your goal for that day. Maybe today's about lifting heavy and challenging your limits. Maybe tomorrow's about getting that deep burn and perfecting your form. Both are valid, both are powerful, and both will make you better. And if this video helped you understand your training better, hit that subscribe button, because every week we break down real fitness science into simple, practical advice that actually works. No hype, no gimmicks, just truth. Thanks for watching, and keep training smart.